This video is brought to you by Diamond Pacific Tool Corporation. Diamond Pacific is America's favorite diamond tool, wheel, and lapidary machine manufacturers. For nearly half a century, Diamond Pacific has set the industry standard for diamond lapidary equipment. Join the majority of professional lapidaries and choose Diamond Pacific products such as their Nova wheels, Pixie, Genie, and Titan gem makers, as well as their wide selection of other high-quality lapidary diamond products. Check out Diamond Pacific today and find out why they're considered America's premier diamond lapidary tool manufacturers. Alright folks, definitely a lot of crystals. Grandma Jean worked with a lot of crystals. Oh, look at this. There she is. Is this some kind of newspaper clipping? Adasti is her name in her native tongue. There she is, doing some kind of medicine work with crystals. I'm sure those drums are probably something Lynn brought. I could still see a tag on the drum, so Lynn always brings drums for people to use for different events and ceremonies. Really cool. She looks good there. Beautiful. So this is just a small portion of stuff. Been cleaning all the crystals and cleansing them and all that stuff. Down here, she's got some serpentine eggs. Grandma Jean loved serpentine. She was always having me make her serpentine necklaces and stuff. A few different kinds here. These are most likely Brazilian. These darker ones right here, most likely Peruvian. Super cool serpentine egg collection. This one's a gold sheen obsidian. A little tough to tell the sheen in this lighting. Beautiful. That's really cool. I don't think it's smoky. It's something inside of the clear quartz. That's a cool cluster. A lot of these are recuts where they repoint the crystal. What I mean by that is, like, you know, the points on these natural terminated crystals are from the earth, where these might have been damaged. Perhaps, you know, all of these are from geodes. They'll repolish the points. These obelisks are really cool. Pretty big. I think the one in the middle there's probably 16 inches. Here's some cool honey calcites. This is cool. It's a big blade, a flat of quartz. But it looks like it has some cool fans of cacaxonite in it. I believe that's what that stuff is called. Very, very cool piece right here. Some kind of smoky in there. Is it called alluvial or celestial or something? I don't really know. My quartz is that low. But it's super nice. Let me see if I can turn on the light. Alright, you can see it a little bit better. See the cool yellow fans in there. I'm sure a lot of you folks have seen quartz grow like this. I think most people are used to seeing quartz grow like that, but it can grow in flats. Very, very, very cool. Here's a nice smoky cluster on just growing on some quartzite. Very cool. I imagine this is probably Asian, but it means nothing. It's all from the mother, you know, Mother Earth. Really cool cluster. I like these stands that they have for her larger amethyst. Definitely made out of tin, probably from East India. Look at that. Those points. Very, very cool specimen there. A little bit smoky, but I wouldn't call it a smoky, you know. This is some chloride included quartz. Could be Brazilian. She has a lot of Brazilian crystals. All of these amethysts, I believe, are either from Brazil or Uruguay. But this is cool, the chloride inside. Making it green. It's actually just on the back. But it pops through. I think when there's a lot of that stuff, they call it garden quartz. That little square right there is a sticker, probably an old price tag. It just faded away in time. Another bowl of serpentine. Grandma Jean really loved serpentine. Some cool, just random tumbles here. And more eggs. Some cool quartz is both recut for medicine work and such, and some natural ones. This is a natural one, 100%. The tip is not recut or anything. Real beautiful. Grandma Jean used to buy some crystals from me back in the day. I never bought too many crystals. I buy them here and there, and if somebody wanted them, I couldn't say no because I wasn't going to do anything with them anyway. Wow, this is a super nice, rich, dark, smoky. Usually when they're this black, if they're from Arkansas, you know they're irradiated, but I don't think she has any from smoky from Arkansas. It's definitely natural. Big carnelian piece right here. Definitely from Jaipur. That Kapal. This pyramid here put together. Would you consider that intarsia if it was a pyramid shape? Since they put it together. Made out of different fluorites. Or calcites, actually. It looks like they faded a bit. Oh, cool. It's like from a big box store or something. 305. Is that California? Made in Pakistan, so it's definitely onyx. Also known as travertine. The calcite onyx is the trade name for it. But that's cool that they made it up of smaller pieces, letting nothing go to waste. Grandma Jean has really good taste. This is another fantastic piece right here. Frosted caps. Grandma Jean was telling me that when they're frosted, they're like healing crystals. This one's really cool. It's actually double terminated. Some mica on the back. Wow, look at that. I don't know the name for this type of termination. Is that what they call like a record keeper or something? I'm sure one of you folks will be able to tell me. I really do not know. But I know it's definitely special. Yeah, look at that. %, natural on all faces. And ever so slightly like yellowish green. These are something really unique that in all of my days I haven't seen these. These must have been made a long time ago. Nowadays, a lot of sculptures are actually made in a very similar way that they drill with sonic drills. They'll literally take like a cookie cutter shape of a negative of a mold, and they'll pump carbide through it and sonically vibe out a big slab of stone to a sculpture. And you see those all the time nowadays, especially out of India, like Ganeshas and Buddhas and such. These are 100% hand cut, but they're probably so old that they were just as affordable as the mass-produced ones would be today. They are fluorite, which is a little bit easier to cut. You know what, in a way, it's hard to cut. It's so soft that it can be difficult. I think, what are these called? Kuan Yin? Yeah. Kuan Yin, I don't know much about that person. I think it's an androgynous person, I'm not exactly sure. But these are super cool. Original bases, so those bases definitely look Chinese to me. Most likely Chinese. And let's take a look at the back. I think they're natural backings. Oh yeah, they glow. Super nice fluorite. There's another Kuan Yin right there. Made out of something, most likely serpentine. She had a big love for serpentine. All kinds of Buddhas. That frosted amethyst Buddha, stunning. This one is regular polished amethyst. Something special about that frosted one. I think the frosted one looks fantastic. Some fluorite back there. That's a Lapidary one. But these are, even though they're mass produced, they're cut by hand. They're not the cookie cutter ones. She probably got these in the 80s. Oh yeah, those are handmade for sure. There's nothing wrong with the ones that are being made today, but when you buy the ones that are made today, you're getting one that everyone has the same exact piece of. Where these, they're not perfect, but each one is different. This one looks like citrine, maybe a heat-treated citrine. Doesn't really look like it though, you know. Doesn't have that orange look of the heat-treated Uruguayan material. Could be like an African citrine. And this right here is obsidian. She was a big collector of obsidian. Check out this bust. That is fantastic. I have no idea what the material is. It looks to me like some kind of like sandstone-y jasper. I think it's a jasper. It feels a little bit more waxy and harder than a sandstone. Maybe even a onyx. But either way, the detail is incredible. Beautiful plains, native person. Great piece of stone. And none of it's really polished. It's kind of, you can see a lot of the work marks used to make things pop out. A little bit shiny on the top here, but that is a great piece. More crystals and serpentine in the box down here. Here's a nice little twin. Smoky. This is a nice recut. This specimen right here, I don't want to take it out of the box, but I want to show you. If I can get a good shot of it, that'd be nice. Check this out. Beautiful specimen. Hard for me to get in frame, it's so big. Little piece missing right there. Love the minerals on the side of this one. And just bursting with quartz. Doesn't feel like it stands freely too well. I wonder if she just had it like in this basket for years. Is that a... oh, it's a broken piece of carnelian. This is carved glass. But it looks like it was recycled glass, like this was the bottom of something and somebody decided to carve it. You see that a lot out here in the Southwest. Some real simple relief carving. Some kind of medicine bag that we're not going to play with. This kind of looks like the Verde Valley serpentine with pyrite. Alright, I'm gonna put this down nicely. And here are some more polished crystal points. This looks like it was once a big piece and somehow broke. Lots of goodies in there. We're not gonna dig through. These are cool. These I'm pretty sure are all Brazilian or Colombian. Grandma Jean's husband was Colombian. Oh yeah, this rutile here is definitely Brazilian. Red rutile. I've never seen a natural rutile crystal. Every single point I've ever seen has been recut. Does rutile come in a natural formation? Another thing worth mentioning, I have never ever seen a natural rose quartz terminated crystal. And I'm sure many of you have never seen it either. Supposedly it's one of the rarest natural terminated crystals. Every single rose quartz crystal I've ever seen was reshaped into a crystal. I was talking to a gemologist in Tucson And she was saying it's one of the rarest crystals in nature, a natural terminated rose quartz, where rose quartz is one of the most common types of quartz in the world. You've never seen a terminated natural rose quartz crystal. I haven't. It's hard to find online. I don't think I've even found it online. I'm sure some of you folks have seen it. Here is a Brazilian gold, silver rutile. Really, 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 really nice. Look at that. I love rutile. I have a bunch of gold rutile. There's a green rutile coming out of Afghanistan nowadays, which is pretty fantastic, and it's really affordable. I think I saw it being sold for $20 a pound, and it's obviously not cut into crystals like this for that price. It was just rough. These are great. Yeah, these are all Colombian and Brazilian points. Most likely just laying around here and there, and the family here who's been cleaning up the place put them together, realized that, hey, these are the same type. Some kind of, looks like a topaz. In the middle there, don't know what the other stuff is. Ooh, look at this. That's a nice Brazilian garden quartz. This is another, you can see terminated gardens, but the rutile, I don't think I've ever seen a natural one before. I imagine it has to come terminated, but might be rare. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I bought a couple kilos of rutile for Vince Allred of the Easy Cab Machine Company. And I think one of those pieces was a cap, like a natural cap of rutile. But I don't remember. This would be considered garden. So it's just the crust on the back that pops through the side and it just magnifies through the facets. Really, really, really cool. It would kind of be sacrilegious to grind the crust away off to make just a clear point. Here's a fun fact. This little white dot right here is whiteout. And that was the way the dealer would mark the stone to price the stone. Every venue and every different show would have a different price point. In Tucson, some people were paying $50,000 to be there for the month. So instead of writing a price that you'd have to wipe off every time, they'll put a little mark of whiteout right there so that they can know, hey, this is maybe the lower end stuff. Maybe a red dot is for the higher end stuff. And they all just communicate that way instead of having prices. Here's a cool phantom. You can see the phantom crystal inside of this one. Looks like there's 2 or 3 in there. Don't know how these work naturally. Was it going to be something that, was there going to be more crystals in there? Is the black dots inside of there cacaxinite and the fans, the yellow fans, something else? Either way, it has some of those beautiful black dots you used to see in a lot of 1980s amethyst coming out of Uruguay and such. It's a cool just jar of crystals that are probably laying all over the place. If Grandma Jean was here, she'd have a story for every single piece.
Some of it's broken.
That's a great picture. That looks like a Ruba Medina ring right there. Here's some cool little Zuni sculptures. Definitely a Zuni bear. They're really well known for their fetishes. Sometimes they'll use little stones of turquoise. In this case, those eyes are actually seed beads, which is convenient because the bead hole gives it like a pupil. The stone is definitely an alabaster. Little nugget of turquoise up there, spiny oyster shell, and a Mediterranean coral. Really cool. I really enjoy the fetishes, but I've never really collected them. Here's another undeniably Zuni piece. This is Jet. I guess the story of Jet, it's carbon, plant carbon, really big out of England. And I guess it was brought over here for a while. There might be deposits of it here in North America. I don't really know. But it's definitely adopted as a common material used by Native Americans for the color black that can take a polish, and that's easy to work. You know, for a long time there was no lapidary machines. No one was using diamond. At best, you're probably drilling with different types of sand grit and pump drills and whatnot, up until just probably even the last 100 years. I still know people who drill with pump drills for that authentic look. This was definitely done with a file and not a wheel. The turquoise looks like Sleeping Beauty to me. It's just, what a great contrast on this bear. Imagine making those little tiny slivers for the toenails. Those toenails actually slip into the foot. Inlaid in there, not like crushed up or anything. Same thing with the claws. It's a lot of work. I mean, and what is the artisan getting for something like that, you know? Probably not enough, I'll tell you that. There's some fetishes can be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars nowadays. But I've seen them sold in the past for dozens of dollars. Isn't that the way it goes? Art's always going to be worth more when you're not around. If you're lucky, you get to sell your art when you're living. This is another cool Zuni bear. This looks like rhyolite, perhaps made by the same artist. It's definitely the same type of turquoise eyes. This is a special material, really special here in Taos. They call it micaceous clay. And you'll see a lot of Taos artists using this type of clay. It has a lot of mica in it, makes it sparkly. And the story I've heard is that just outside of Taos, there's a place called Cuesta. And the Tiwa and Tewa natives here own a portion of the mine right across from the mountain that the molybdenum mine is at, the Chevron molybdenum mine. And there's a deposit where they get this micaceous clay from. And they go over there on horseback. It's got to take a long time. It's a 45-minute drive, so it's probably quite a horseback ride through the mountains. And they get the clay and they make their arts out of it. Really cool. I love micaceous clay. It's just, when I see it, I just think Taos. I knocked over Sweetie Bear here. Pick her back up. This buffalo is a really cool amethyst. To the untrained eye, someone might think it was Tiffany stone. Nice chevron amethyst. Definitely done with traditional lapidary tools. It's not very old, but it's really nice. I don't think this one's made by Armando and Sons. They do make a lot of the finer bears being sold, but I'm sure that's pretty old. Awesomeness. Some crystal balls there. obsidian, fluorite. Yeah, it looks like citrine, but it's actually calcite. This material you see on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff a lot. A lot of people think this is cinnabar, which is a mercury ore, but it's not. It's actually a glass. Really cool. I see this sold as cinnabar quite often online. If it was cinnabar, that'd be super cool. I love cinnabar. It's a nice frosted twin right there. That's really cool. It's obviously cut, but it's cut to showcase the higher end material of whatever it came from. Really nice, simple, faceted citrine here. That's probably pretty valuable. Definitely not heat treated. What a pleasure to be here and look at Gene stuff. Here's a rutile, silver rutile. Yeah, silver rutile orb, marble sphere from Brazil. Here's a cool like rose cut facet quartz here. It's likely for medicine work or for just for decor. Just endless crystals. We're not gonna dig through it, but I think it's pretty deep. What a spectacular collection. This is hollowed out for a light. You can see the cool ribs in the crystal from the core bit. They snapped it off pretty close to the top. They did a really good job. I wonder if this little line, oh, that's where the cable would come out of for the light. Only 52 bucks. She must have got this thing years and years and years and years ago. Oh, it's rutile as well. Gold rutile. If I made this light today, regardless if I had to recut it or not, I would charge no less than $300, and it's only 52 bucks. It's showing its age for sure. Yeah. Just what a cool light. I would love to see it glow with that gold rutile. Do you folks know what this is? I do. It's raw serpentine. I can feel it. It's like waxy. In spots you can kind of see the green. Almost reminds me of Big Sur Jade or something, but it's definitely a serpentine. Super cool. And all of these are bags that Lenny has made for drums. No joke. They're so nicely done and they're so affordable. When the artisan decides she no longer wants to make these drum bags, we are so out of luck, because this bag right here should be $250. It's handmade here in Taos. Lynn, what do you sell your bag for, like 65 bucks or something? 65. Sometimes she gives the bag away with the drum. You know, Lynn's an artist first, salesperson second. These should be $200. Black tourmaline and mica. Really, really huge piece here. I hear when it's a finer specimen piece, they call it Cheryl. Don't know anything about that. I think that might be something that they call it in England. Over here, some costume stuff, some eggs on a plate. This is not Mediterranean. This little coral boot here is actually bamboo coral, which is a coral that they dye out of Asia, but still really nice. If you look up bamboo coral, it's a beautiful, beautiful creature. In this sterling setting, and nice earring wear. She probably put this together herself. She wasn't a jeweler, but she was a designer. She'd often draw out designs and have celebrity artists make her work. My grandpa made her work for years. Look at this. I made every single one of these, except for that ring right there. Oh yeah, I remember these. I haven't seen these in years. I made these. Grandma Jean would come and buy them from me. She'd bring me a cheeseburger and buy my crystals. This is one of the very first pieces I've ever made, actually. I made this on a high-tech flat lap in the middle of the desert. These serpentines, they're definitely Peruvian, but I don't remember where I got the material. I don't think I got it in Tucson. I might have got it at the Albuquerque Gem Show. And these purple stones that look a lot like sugilite are called allanite. And me and my grandpa were cutting this for a long time. I'm going to make a dedicated video about this material because it's often sold as counterfeit sugilite. And since the 80s, it was kind of like an imitation sugilite. 3 or 4 years ago in Tucson, I saw a gentleman selling rough pieces of allanite as imitation sugilite, and I'm like, hey, is that allanite? And he's like, it sure is, but I've never known anybody to actually know its real name. Great material, used a lot in like Hopi Zuni Dene style inlay work. Not because to cheap out on anything, but it's super consistent. It's a stabilized mineral, so it's just super duper consistent. Opposed to a natural stone, which might, you know, fracture, or you have to cut out the designer pieces of. Oops. Grab that. Look at some of these cabs. Yeah. This stuff is easy to cut, difficult to polish. You have to be real gentle. I miss cutting this stuff. I used to get it for, I used to get this material from Durango Turquoise Company, not to be mistaken with the famous Durango Silver Company of the Hartman fame. The Hartmans are great people too, by the way. But, yeah, I used to get it for $45 a pound. If I could get it for that price, I would literally buy them out. But it went up to 75, then went up to 120 a pound. And now they just can't get it anymore. And this is a piece that I made. This is Turkish lavender jade. This was actually a gift to me from the mine owner, Veggie. Well, I guess the government owns the mine in Turkey, but Veggie, he works for the military, I believe. And he's doing a lot for the Turkish people. He's like, they designed a machine, a lapidary machine, to give Turkish folks jobs so that their stones are cut in Turkey instead of sending them to Hong Kong or the Philippines or India. Supposedly one of the oldest active and constantly running mines in the entire world. Turkish lavender jade is actually a jadeite jade, not a nephrite jade. Nephrite's like what you'd see out of Yukon, what the Maori work, Wyoming. Jadeite is what you'd see out of Myanmar, China, Kazakhstan, in Guatemala. Really cool stuff. It's so cool to see it. This stuff looks great. I think I was better back then than I am now. What happened? I used to stay up until like 5 in the morning just cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. I had so much love for the art back then. I mean, I still love what I do, but there was something special going on when I made these pieces. These little lapises are really cool. There's a cool story about this lapis. Lenny made drums, and she'd sell them in Tucson. She's been going for decades. And she was selling out up until I decided to start going with her. And I think she was selling out even like the year before I came. And I was like bad luck. And she didn't sell out that year. And we didn't have a lot of money. And she gave me some of the only money we had. She gave me $360 to buy a high-tech flat lap. And we just really didn't have the money to give. And she didn't have the money to give, but she did it anyway because she knew I wanted to do it more than anything. And at the end of the show, she was like, "Let's walk around." They leave, you know, vendors leave stuff they don't want. And I didn't believe it at all. I'm like, why would they leave anything? So we walked around the booths, and we came across an empty, like a cleared out booth of one of the folks from Afghanistan. They had giant slabs of lapis that were broken in half. Like they were polished slabs for decor, but they were broken. So they left them behind. The people there leased a tent. The tent people didn't want it. So I probably got 20 kilos of really nice lapis, 100% free to go along with my flat lap that we couldn't afford. And it was just such an honor, and that really kicked off my lapidary career. I didn't really want to be a lapidary. I could have done it for years before that. My grandpa used to pay me to polish jade knives and such for him, and I just didn't have any love for it. It took me going to Tucson and falling in love with it at the Diamond Pacific booth, who ironically now is the official sponsor of the YouTube channel. Diamond Pacific Don just absolutely snagged my heartstrings with the art form. They let me sit there for hours cutting at their booth, even though they don't let a lot of people do that. I think they just saw how in love I was with it, and I can't thank them enough. And this is that same material that me and Lynn found. Fantastic. Ruben still has maybe 3 or 4 big slabs of the lapis that I got all those years ago. If he's not going to do anything with it, I might have to ask him to trade them back for me, give him something that he can use, because they're special to me. It reminds me of Lenny a lot. Here's some, actually, I thought it was celestite, and then I thought it was calcite, but it's actually a blue rhomboid. Is that what they call the squares? Fluorite. It's a nice, beautiful blue fluorite. Almost looks like quartz. I'm not going to pick it up. That is fantastic. Let's see if I can get the gimbal in here. All right, we'll pick it up and be really careful. Look at that, like, band of vein down there. What is going on with that? I think this is celestite. Looking at it now, it's like not a fluorite shape. They're like square points, square off triangular points. I think this is celestite. I actually applied for a crystal job here years ago when I was looking for a JOB. And Taos Rockers, one of the best gem shops in town, gave me a test on identifying crystals. And I identified every single one. The only person who's ever done that, except for the celestite. And I thought that's what it was, but I just didn't know, and I told him I just didn't know. I should have at least guessed. Really cool crystal. I think it's out of Argentina. Not 100% sure. I'm sure a lot of you folks can tell me out there more about that stuff. Here is some sodalite. I have a really super old video on sodalite. I think that was the first video I made when I decided this is what I'm gonna do. Let's make gemstone videos. Let's come around here. Is this what they call skeletal or celestial? I really don't know. Old price tag, probably from the 80s. Oh, another one of those super fantastic sheets of smoky. Here is a celestite egg. I know that there's forming machines now that can make egg shapes fast and easy, like the machine will make the egg shape. But honestly, I think 99% of the ones out there being sold are hand-shaped. I know Mr. Armando used to make eggs by hand in Mexico. That's how he started, was with making a lot of eggs. Spheres, on the other hand, are really hard to make by hand. It's not impossible. Overseas, they'll use a rotundle and a hoop, like a diamond hoop blade, and roll that diamond blade around it. I might have a video of it to put up here. It's another piece of celestite. This green here, this is apophyllite. Look at that nice Fabergé looking egg. The green here, that is celestite, not celestite, that's apophyllite from India. Some people used to call it cave quartz, I believe. But it's not a quartz, it's way softer. This material is very affordable, even in larger pieces. I don't know what makes this stuff valuable. Compared to common pieces. I have seen pieces smaller than this go for $100, and I've seen pieces 5 times bigger than this with a lot more detail go for 25 bucks. I don't understand apophyllite. I should interview a East Indian vendor sometime and get the skinny on apophyllite from caves in India. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Definitely a material that yeah, apophyllite, $40 to $50 natural. What is that? I can't read that, but this looks like the apophyllite, doesn't it? Guess what this is? It looks just like the apophyllite, doesn't it? It's not though. This is a green aquamarine. Really nice piece. I think it's an aquamarine though. I've been wrong. Over here it's a cool Tibetan made ring. Nice faceted amethyst. Believe it or not, these common cut amethysts, even with the darker colors like that, faceted, they can be $1 or $2. Like, they're not, just because it's a faceted natural colored stone doesn't make it particularly valuable. You can take this stone and do special designer cuts that are trademarked and copywritten and turn it into thousands of dollars. But these cushion cut stones you can literally get from Jaipur, Rajasthan, and places like that for a couple dollars. I like the filigree. This ring as a whole though, you know, she probably got it for 20 bucks, maybe worth closer to 50 nowadays. Really cool. Check this out. This is something really special that I didn't know Grandma Jean had any of, and it's definitely worth a lot more than 15 or 20 bucks. This is smoky quartz from Cuesta, New Mexico. Cuesta is where that micaceous clay is coming out of. This is so dark, you would think it was irradiated. It's 100% natural. I know a few folks, some Native American folks that go get this material. To me, this is top-notch formation and color. I think these should be worth 4 or 5 times what they're priced. But there's no real market for the Cuesta smoky quartz because nobody is like getting enough of it to go out to market to establish a value for it. Or do you mail something like this away to some celebrity pro that decides what it's worth? Beats me, but really cool. I wonder when she got it. It must not be that old. I've only seen it been coming out for a couple of years. Spectacular piece. This is also Cuesta Smoky. It's just pitch black. Looks like the irradiated stuff from Arkansas. Nice double terminated piece right there. It looks like it's inside a pegmatite. Like white beryl. There's probably a pegmatite mine up there. That just makes sense. There's a huge and famous pegmatite mine in Dixon, south of Taos, that produces smoky quartz inside of lapidolite. Obviously, there's crystals in the cave and stuff, but they don't let anybody into it. And there's aquamarines there. There's a lot of fluorite and calcite there. Pegmatite is just a super mineral-rich type of material that grows all kinds of crystals. If you folks at home would like to see a really cool video on a great pegmatite mine, check out my video on the Paula Chief mine in California we put out earlier this year. You can also watch the Crystal Collector's version of that video if you'd like to as well, but I think we had more fun being different. Look at these. These are definitely made in Peru. Serpentine iguanas. You see these all the time at the gem show. They're cut and then they're clear coated. This one lost its tail, but you know what? It grew back. I should put it back on for them. Peruvian serpentine iguanas. You know what? These look better than a lot of the ones you see today. Is it that to make more money, they make them lower quality now to make more faster because they're making less? Did they have more pride back in the day when she bought these? Was it the original artist who taught people how to make these who just made them better than a lot of the ones you see today? Maybe all of those things put together. These are great. They all have different character for sure. Like this one's just happy to be here. Beautiful Peruvian serpentine iguanas. There's some big ones back there. And this one is made out of something different. No, I think it's still a serpentine. I don't know what's gonna happen to these, but I hope they don't bust up the iguana family. They're just so cute and fantastic. This one's cool because it's like, you know, like those iguanas that swim and stuff, and how they get those crusty barnacles all over their scales from swimming in salt water. That's what this one reminds me of. Like when they swim and they get all the crust on it from swimming in the ocean. But all that's natural. Natural's part of the serpentine. Oh, very cool. Where do you think this photo of Jean was taken?
I don't know.
Definitely adobe house. Look at those rings. Jeez Louise. Those are fantastic.
Okay.
Can I see the picture of Hector?
Mm-hmm.
On the trash bag, somebody gives me one.
This is her husband,
It's got
Hector.
No, it's just trash.
He's from Colombia. Fantastic guitar player. And amazing painter. We'll take a look at some of his paintings here in a sec.
So I'll read to you.
God, what a great, beautiful man. That's a cool, it's like a San Domingo necklace or something. Really, really cool. Tasty photo. Who took these?
A professional.
Here you
Big
go.
pictures, the black and white.
Mm-hmm. Check these out, folks. You know what these are? These are mammoth ivory or walrus ivory. I'm pretty sure they're mammoth ivory. Scrimshaw salt and pepper shakers. They're Inuit. Fantastic. Scratched into the surface there. Extremely well done. These aren't like the ones that are just whipped together for the tourist trade. These are really nice. I've seen a lot of these, and I've seen like the cheaper ones will just have scratches beyond, like, just to make the scrimshaw as quick as possible. These are definitely done by someone who's really, really good. Made out of multiple pieces, obviously, but really just stunning salt and pepper shakers. Corked on there. Look at that. What a lovely set.
So
J. Hector Bustos, Colombian naive artist. Is that how you pronounce that form of art? It's naive.
yes.
And it's because it's kind of, Grandma Jean said it's because it's like simple, but like, yeah, it's flat. There's no like not too much dimension and such, but it's fantastic. The color is amazing. Are some of these going to a children's hospital?
We've got yeah.
They're happy. They look like they belong in a children's hospital. Mr. Hector was from Colombia. You can see a lot of his art just popping with color. Real flat, you know. But it's great. Totally stunning. I love the ones where all the animals are just hanging out together. Look at that ostrich. Check this one down here. It would have been really cool to know Mr. Hector. I hear he was an amazing guitar player. Just playing pool there. Here's a super cool piece. Older, definitely needs to be polished. It's hard to get some light on it. Nice, super dark, not full of Richterite piece of sugilite. Very, very cool piece. not polished very well. Definitely roughly shaped. You could see like on a flat lap there or something. And then thrown into a tumbler. I have friends that lived in LA when the family that was really marketing it in America lived there. And it used to be $4 a gram. Something like that. Definitely not the case anymore. Here's some stuff that overflowed into the kitchen. Just crystals everywhere. Cool free-flowing polished piece of obsidian from Magdalena. It's actually rainbow, but it's really hard to see in the light. Some tourmaline chips. Cool faceted quartz. Supposedly she had, Grandma Jean used to work with Vogels. I haven't seen them. This is something super special. This is an old watermelon tourmaline. The bale is made out of supposedly 14 karat, and the silver is sterling. It looks like it had a plaque there that she was probably gonna get inscribed. Really cool piece. Not capped the best. And it looks like it's held in with glue, unfortunately. But it's just really cool. It says on the side here, it says sterling, D-E-L-L-A-N-A, sterling 14 karat. Yeah, odd. Just gold wire soldered to the side of the silver. Interesting piece. Some other things here, but this is cool. This gotta be old because it's a pyramid piece of sugilite, and you just never see sugilite cut like that. And they didn't even bother polishing the bottom. By how perfectly symmetrical it is, it's definitely made overseas, probably in India, in a time where just this material was like the tiger's eye or the aventurine or the fluorite that we see making up the tchotchke market nowadays. Sugilite. This is definitely, you know, not the highest quality sugilite, but you just don't see that anymore. You don't see sugilite made into cats, into pyramids, or just little ones like this. It's probably sold for $1 or $2 back in the day. Super cool. This is neat. An electroform. An electroform that they polish the back of the amethyst and it shows off the agate and the chloride and stuff. Really cool. And then there's these sweeties here. That's a nice white jadeite jade dragon on a serpentine base. Actually, that's a nephrite jade base. The base is nephrite, that's serpentine, that is jadeite jade. The ships, real traditional style ships, are actually serpentine. They do make these out of jadeite jade. These ones are serpentine. I've made many pieces to repair these over the years for Grandma Jean. The chain is free-flowing. Really cool. I see these still being sold at the Tucson show nowadays for about $700 for the bigger ones. Cool. Emperor ship ready to sail down the Yangtze River. She bought these in LA, I believe in the 70s. And this right here is something super cool. That is a piece of a tree that Lynn and Grandma Jean were standing next to at a grocery store. It was struck by lightning. And the bark went flying everywhere, and Lynn and Jean collected some of the bark. We were standing right next to it. Really cool ships. This is my favorite Hector painting here. Huge, huge painting. Got some bullfighting in the middle there. Selling some ice cream down there. Everybody's doing something in this painting. For being a naive form, it's just full of action. Look at that guy, he's a daredevil. How cool is that? Here is a big piece of bluish tiger eye, not tiger iron, tiger's eye. Most likely African. Feels really good, like really good. A lot of you folks know I'm not a fan of this material. For the most part, it's more trouble than it's worth, literally, like financially. But this piece is awesome. Feels good. Not too much chatoyance. It kind of needs to be polished to have the chatoyance. Really cool.